was lucky enough that My Games, the publisher of World War III, gave me access to their game early for closed beta testing. If you guys want to do that, you can buy a pack for closed beta access down below in the description using my affiliate link. I'd appreciate that very much because it helps the channel grow. But this video is all about my thoughts and impressions after playing this game for a few hours. Now, although I've got an affiliate link and I do get kickback from any purchases that you make through that link, I am not paid to sway my opinion either way. My opinion on this game is completely honest, and I really like it. And personally, if you're looking for a game to replace Battlefield because you may have played the Battlefield beta and thought, no, this is definitely not for me, like myself, or you may have bought the game and really regretted it because of just how buggy it was, this game could be for you. Now, it doesn't come without some drawbacks. I mean, the maps are a lot smaller and the pacing is slower. If you like fast-paced shooters, then this might hit you as a little shock because the game's meant to be played tactically. Now, for me, that's not a problem coming from Escape from Tarkov, but coming from games like Call of Duty or Battlefield, you may find this a little bit different. Now, there are two main modes in the closed beta testing that I've played. You got the classic team deathmatch mode, which is pretty much self-explanatory. It's first to 50 kills, and it's also best of 3 rounds. And there's also the larger of the two modes, Tactical Ops, and this is basically a capture the point mode. You got much larger teams that are separated into squads, and you have to capture the points A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. The more points you hold, the more score you get, and it's first to 5,000 score. And because it's on a much larger scale of map, you get access to vehicles like tanks, BTRs, etc. There's no aircraft, obviously, but you do get mini drones that can bomb people, so that's kind of fun. The more points you get either by killing people or capturing points, the more strike points you get, and you can use them towards different sorts of kill streak. So a radar for your local area, you can get airstrikes, you can get different vehicles to spawn in, and all of those are really game changing. If you can get a tank at the moment, they are quite overpowered. You either need an anti-tank mine or an RPG to take them out, or obviously another vehicle. But that's the brief rundown of the two modes and how I grasp how to play them. But let's go over the good, the bad and the ugly of this game. It's not as bad as Battlefield when I did this sort of review for Battlefield, so that's a positive, right? In of itself, let's start with the positives actually and talk about the gun customization. You're able to get so many different equipment mods. You're able to put canted sights on there, and the guns perform really well. The recoil patterns are all really diverse, so no one weapon's the same. It isn't like just pulling straight down. You've got to really learn the recoil patterns of each weapon, and to be fair, if you're firing at people from a distance, tap firing or single shot definitely works better, which is something that you want to see, especially in a more tactical shooter like this, rather than Call of Duty and Battlefield where you can spray people across the map pretty easily. You've also got different weapon camos and equipment mods that you can equip for your person. For example, you know that innovative quote-unquote thing that Battlefield have done where you can customize your weapon on the fly? Well, this is also in World War III. You need an equipment slot called the backpack, but that allows you to equip up to 4 different things on your weapon on the go. Now you have to unlock these separately, but the more you use the backpack, the more you'll unlock, and the higher your level, the more you'll unlock, etc, etc. This is done really well. It isn't getting different types of ammos, it isn't doing all of the things that was broken with Battlefield. It was changing your optic on the fly, or changing your foregrip. It's just different things like that. And if that wasn't enough customization for you, you also get to customize your different strike face armor plating, which I'll get onto more in a second. But you get to choose whether it's level 2, level 3 or level 4, all of which affects your mobility differently. And on top of that, you also got helmets as well. Some protect more, some protect less, and some are just cosmetic as well. Really interesting character customization as well. You also get the typical weapon customization and different camos that you get with that. It's not quite Call of Duty level where everything's blingy and gold, but you've got really cool camouflages that you can put on your weapon, something that you'll actually see in the real world. Another thing I really like about playing this game is you have to pick your shots exactly right. Now that strike face that you've got that I mentioned earlier, that will save your life. Now the hit markers that you see, you got red for killing, you got white for a hit, and you've got blue for hitting the strike face. Now, depending on what ammo type you're running, you will penetrate that strike face, and also it depends on what level class that strike face is. But that strike face will save your life, and it is just that plate as well, so you can shoot in the side or just past the strike face and it will hit the body and penetrate. But if you've got that strike face center mass and they're just shooting you straight on, that will save your life. If someone's just spraying at you, they might get a couple of hits off on your limbs, but if you're picking your shots carefully, because there isn't much flinch in this game, you'll be able to take someone down quicker, even if they got the jump on you, which is great. Now, lucky for me, my system can run this game on max settings and still get good FPS. The performance isn't the greatest, and even I experienced the occasional frame drop, but there's so much going on around you, you can sort of forgive that, especially with this game being in a beta as well. The looks of the weapons, the players, the buildings, and the environments are all really top notch at max settings. If you drop it down a little bit, textures start to look a little more flat, but that's to be expected. It's what you prefer, performance or looks. And speaking of environments, the environments are really diverse. All the maps look really different, they all perform really different, and if you're playing on the larger maps, then you are going to experience different situations. Every map you go on is going to feel different, and even if you play the same map over and over again, you're going to get into different firefights around different situations. Do I think the game can get stale over time? Yes, if they don't add more maps, the game's going to get stale very quickly, just like what happened with the previous developers. But the good thing about being bought out by someone is that the game is obviously seen as something to the developers that bought the game out. They didn't just get handed it on a silver platter, they wanted to purchase it. This game could have quite easily died about a year or two ago. If My Games and Farm51 didn't purchase this game, then obviously it would have done. But the reason that they've purchased it is obviously to keep the lifespan going, to keep the flow of content being pushed through, which is something that you can only hope for. Now, we don't know for certain whether they'll stick to that, but that's obviously their vision, otherwise why would they have paid money for it? And because they've made this game free to play, obviously not with the beta testing, you need to pay to get into that, but because it's free to play at the end of it, it's going to bring tons of new eyes to the game, and the more eyes you've got watching and the more people that you've got playing, the more chance that the developers are going to continue it and push it through its development stages. Now, before I move on to the little negatives that I've got, the little gripes of this game, I'd like to mention something that's both good and bad, and that is bullet hit registration and how the weapons feel. Obviously, I've already mentioned about recoil patterns being different, but bullets hit like they're supposed to, and that is something else. Shotguns are not like really close range and nothing else, which is good. Sniper rifles can be used in all different situations, but obviously you need to use them long range. And weapons like submachine guns, the damage drop off is quite accurate. But then it also pairs really well with a downside, and that is where the server is positioning the player on screen. Now, it's slightly off. I've had a few occasions where I'm completely behind cover and I get shot from what seems like through a wall. Obviously on their end, they may see an arm sticking out, which they take advantage of and shoot that. But when you're completely behind cover on your screen, and then combining that with the after death camera where you see where you get shot from by the enemy and it highlights the enemy in red, and they're completely in cover as well, and all you can see is a red silhouette, that's a little bit infuriating and it needs to be worked on. Servers in general need to be worked on, but this game is a beta. The servers came up yesterday for closed beta and they went down almost instantly and were down the whole evening. And considering that was the main gripe of previous players in World War III, it's not a good look for the first day of closed beta testing. The game being down all day obviously isn't the best. But the majority of people that are moaning about this are people that don't have any idea how servers work, especially for gaming environments like these, and they don't know how difficult it is to predict how many players are going to be coming into the closed beta testing all at one go, which can easily make the server stutter or crash. But again, something they should over anticipate just by looking at how many people have purchased the packs and stuff like that. Servers are much better once they are up. Obviously you do still get stutters and stuff like that. I got a few of them while playing, but nothing to the point where it ruined my game experience. It did once get me killed, but other than that, pretty okay. Nothing special, but nothing terrible either. I briefly mentioned how overpowered tanks are, and I'd like to talk about it a little bit more. Tanks can get stuck on the tiniest of pebbles around the map. Now obviously that's just terrain clipping and they can fix that by just going over the terrain, smoothing it out, etc. But it can be frustrating, especially when you're in a tank and you're not driving it and someone else is, and then they get stuck right on the edge of the map and you go out of bounds. Happened to me a few times as well. But tanks in general, once they're in play, extremely overpowered. It takes a lot to destroy them. Having a whole squad with RPGs, all firing RPGs at the tank, just about killed it, but obviously when you're getting shot at, you can easily just turn around and blow people up with the tank shell. It can be a bit of a pain in the ass to fight them, but they're not going to be easy, are they? If you can take one out with a pistol, that wouldn't work either. Bringing tank health down slightly, or just having more ways to kill them, would be a better bet, but we can expect balancing to be done over the game's development stages, and closed beta obviously is a testing phase for the developers too. So if you have played the game already, leave your feedback for the developers, as they will take note of that. And obviously if you've got comments down below for the game, then put them down in that comment section, because the more comments that I get on the video, I'll be able to pass that on to the developers and they can take notes and decide what to do from there. There were a few bugs that I saw, but that is again to be expected for closed beta. The most annoying one for me is I had a nice northern guy just talking constantly, and all you heard was the clack 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 on his keyboard, and when you go to the scoreboard and go to mute him, you couldn't. And I don't know why. I've tried that in multiple games to mute different people and it just didn't work. Now, I don't know whether that's a bug for everyone or just me, but it really frustrated me when all I could hear was clack clack clack, heavy breathing, and just stuff that would take away from me listening to footsteps, because the sound isn't great either. On top of that, I couldn't switch my class either, which frustrated me. I wanted to try out a nice weapon with a canted sight on that, and it just wouldn't work. Just for that 1 or 2 games, and then it started to. So, really strange one. But occasionally you might pick a weapon and you can see that that weapon's equipped, but then you just get a default, whatever one is your default loadout, rather than the one that you've actually equipped in the game, which is yeah, frustrating. And the last thing, and the pretty major thing, is sound. Sound design isn't the best, it's very hit or miss. Hearing people coming up to you, it's a toss of a coin at the moment. If you're sitting in a room using a scope weapon like me, I use a sniper quite a bit, you can't hear some people coming up to you, sometimes you can. So it's always worth keeping your wits about you anyway, and occasionally check in your perimeter. Even if you shouldn't need to, you should just be able to hear out for them. That doesn't always work, in fact, very rarely works. Being able to quickly roll on your back or roll on your stomach though does help if you suddenly hear them last minute. If you're a sniper, you can pull out your sidearm and shoot them quite quickly, or if you've got an automatic weapon, then it shouldn't be a problem killing them while they run up to you. But overall, the game is really good. Now, there of course are going to be some issues that need to be ironed out, but that is why this game is in closed beta before it goes public for everyone. You need to just understand that we are in a testing phase at the moment, and obviously you are going to experience some issues. But overall, the game is far less buggy than a AAA game known as Battlefield, and far more enjoyable as well. Basically, if you're looking for a Battlefield 4 type game rather than the futuristic Battlefield 2042, with the weapon customization on the fly and a little bit more realism, then World War III is the game for you. Obviously, you're going to have to deal with some of the issues that the game has during this beta release, but they will be ironed out, I assure you. I'm going to release much more gameplay on this game as well, so if you are interested, feel free to subscribe to the channel to see more of this game before you buy. I'll be playing it quite a bit along its development phase. It's really fun and a nice change of pace from my usual Escape from Tarkov hell. If you've seen this video and instantly decided this game is for you though, like I said at the start, there is my affiliate link down below for you to click on. If you purchase a pack, I get a little bit of a kickback, and I'd much appreciate that. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. I'll stop rambling, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.